It's week 7 on the Pacific Crest Trail and we are in Ridgecrest, California. We're taking a 00 because we're going on a side quest with some friends and waiting for some other friends of ours to catch up. On our way to our adventure of the day, we had to stop in the adorable town of Kernville, California at Cheryl's Diner. We started out the morning with pie for breakfast and then I piled on top of that with a delicious sweet crepe. Kernville was absolutely adorable, and it's actually about the same distance from trail as Ridgecrest. So if you have the option to choose between them, Kernville is cuter, but it doesn't have as many amenities and big groceries. We were there so early in the morning that not much was open besides the diner and the local coffee shop. It had a Western theme to it, and I could just tell that in the height of the season, or even height of the day, that it was an adorable spot. What was not adorable was this matcha that tasted like one of Starbucks protein matchas. We were finishing up our journey to our main destination of the day when we got caught in a literal cattle drive.
Look at that one facing the wrong way, just
imagine all of them like just
I know.
ramming the shit out of the car.
Hello.
This is wild.
They were on a walking journey, just like we were. Look at this one. He was stubborn. And then we reached it, the Trail of 100 Giants. Although the Pacific Crest Trail goes right through Sequoia National Park, we don't actually get to see the giant sequoia trees on the trail. Our international friends weren't sure if they'd ever get the opportunity to see the giant sequoias ever again, and so they went onto Facebook and asked local people the closest trail to Ridgecrest that they could go see the trees. And of course, if we have the opportunity to go on a side quest, we were going. So we went along with them to the Trail of 100 Giants to see the magic of the giant sequoias. And Barbie tried to channel his inner Snow White magic and become friends with the chipmunks. A few of the trails were closed due to a burn that had happened a few years ago, but that did not deter us from enjoying the giant majesticness of these trees. These weren't like the really, really big ones, like the ones that you can drive a car under, but they were still magnificent all the same. It's the start of week 7 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and we are on a side quest to the Trail of 100 Giants. A few of our friends that we are staying with in Ridgecrest really wanted to go see the giant sequoias, and you don't officially see them usually on the Pacific Crest Trail. So we're on a side quest. It's the perfect way to start week 7. And then soon, in tomorrow, we'll head towards Kennedy Meadows and start the Sierras. I've talked at length the last few weeks about how much I've missed the trees, so I soaked in this moment. Before we knew it, we were headed back to Ridgecrest, and I was in utter shock and horror at the burn zones. I knew that eventually we were going to be seeing more of this, but I don't think my heart was ready. We made one last stop before getting back to Ridgecrest at Kern River Brewing for a delicious meal and sitting outside and enjoying the camaraderie with our fellow hiker friends before we hit the trail the next day and onwards to Kennedy Meadows. The next morning, we left Ridgecrest for Walker Pass, and we're back on the trail headed towards Kennedy Meadows South. Good morning. It is day 40-something on the PCT. Maybe I'll get the number count again. I'll have to go look at my notes. But we are officially leaving Ridgecrest, and we are back on trail. We technically took 2 zeros in Ridgecrest, which wasn't really planned, but we were waiting for our friend to catch up to us. So we took a 0, and then yesterday we went on a side quest to the sequoias, which was really awesome. But yeah, I've been kind of antsy to get back on trail because we really only have 2-ish days left before we are in Kennedy Meadows, and I am so excited to finish the first section of the trail and to be finished with the SoCal desert section. So it's like I'm trying to appreciate and be in the moment, but I'm also just ready to be there. So yeah, I was ready to be out of town and back on the trail today. Today's gonna be a little bit weird and tough because there's like a bigger group of us that were here, And so we couldn't all fit in the first Trail Angel ride, so it's me, Renegade in secondhand, and Barbie is on the second ride with our other friends, but he won't be getting out until like 3 hours from now, which that means I probably won't see him like all day, which we usually hike together. And like while I'm perfectly capable and fine of hiking alone, it's weird that he's not a little bit ahead of me or behind me. So that's going to be interesting today. And also we're having to do shorter mileage, some easier mileage, because we've had people who are sick, people who are hurting, and yeah, with us being so close to Kennedy Meadows, that's like mentally kind of hard for me. But yeah, just try to go with the flow and hoping that it'll just all work out. At this point on the trail, I was feeling more than a bit anxious, which is never something I like to feel. I felt like we were going too slow and we were taking way too many zeros, and I felt like Barbie and I weren't hiking our own hike anymore. And so we had started to discuss making some changes as we reached Kennedy Meadows and headed into the Sierras. But I was also trying to remind myself to take deep breaths and enjoy the beautiful desert lizards, like this cool dude with his orange stripes. These swaths of rock make me feel like I'm back in Pennsylvania. When he wants to, or when he's not stuck behind me, Barbie is an incredibly fast hiker, and so I was so excited to see those pink shorts in the distance shortly after I stopped for a late lunch. I was so excited to be reunited with my hiking partner. Today, it feels, at least right now, it feels a little bit more like we're leaving the desert. There are trees. By week 7, I had really developed a morning routine that was working for me, and part of that included not stopping for my oatmeal until about 2 hours into the day. This was a great mid-morning break and a great way for me to get extra protein in the morning. You were at our campsite last night?
Good morning, Bear Bear.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Barbie and I were so excited to see our first bear of the Pacific Crest Trail. From a distance, of course. Hello, Desert Bam Bam, you little chunky desert potato. Hello, my friend. You are majestic. Did you see his little tongue pop out to try and catch a bug? I will say, I will greatly miss my little desert lizard friends when we leave this segment of the trail. I am directionally challenged, so I'm not 100% sure that this is what we were seeing, but those mountains in the distance looked like they had snow atop them, and that made me think that they were the Sierra Nevadas. Even if that wasn't actually the Sierras, the thought that it could be made every mile a little bit lighter, and it made me want to savor every last moment in the desert. It is day 45 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and I completely forgot to take any talking head videos today. Probably because we pushed a big 25-mile day.
We did.
Yeah, and we took very little breaks, and we're exhausted. But tomorrow, we finish the desert, and we get to Kennedy Meadows. We're like 9 miles from Kennedy Meadows, and we are so excited. And I'm not sure what's happening on this side of the tent, so I'm gonna turn the camera this way. But yeah, the desert has been a unique experience, but we're excited to hit the Sierras, and I'm also terrified, but we're excited too. Good morning. It is day 46 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and it is our last day in the desert. Hopefully, we hope. Theoretically, we get to Kennedy Meadows and we're done with the desert, but you know, there could be a few little more miles after that it's still desert, but well, it's been an adventure to say the least, and we're excited to take on the next part of this adventure. I'm excited to officially be back in mountains and real trees. I mean, in some ways, some of these shrubs are beautiful, but I miss the trees. I miss big mountains. And we're excited and thrilled. And I'm also terrified to hit the Sierras like very, very soon. So yeah, it's gonna be a good day. I know I've made it pretty clear that I was ready to be out of this section of the trail, but I'd also be lying if I said that I didn't love it, because I did. I loved the desert in its own way. I knew overall it would probably be my least favorite section of the trail just because heat is not my thing, but I really appreciated the perseverance of the critters that lived here and its unique beauty and the things that still grew even in this crazy, hot, almost unlivable feeling environment. I loved the desert for how it pushed me, and I reflected on all of this as we made our way towards mile 700. Look at that flowing river! I'm so excited to be near rivers and water. I'm not excited to cross them, but I'm excited to be near them. 700 miles. Almost to Kennedy Meadows! We made it 700 miles! 3 miles out from Kennedy Meadows and the Sierras. After reaching that 700-mile marker, we glided down the trail for the last few miles until we reached Kennedy Meadows South. And then we saw the first sign indicating that we were getting close. We weren't anywhere near Grumpy's or civilization, but we were almost to the iconic sign. We freaking made it!
700 miles. Already done like a quarter. Yeah. More than that now.
The desert has been real, it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. So we're excited to be in Kennedy Meadows and head towards the Sierras. As we walked up to the Kennedy Meadows general store, we were met with hoops, hollers, cheering, and claps. We felt famous. As hikers walked into the iconic general store, fellow hikers were welcoming them with a rambunctious round of applause. It was an amazing feeling. We put our names on the list to collect our bear canisters, and as we did, we wandered around the general store and also the little 2-foot adventures truck to see if there was anything we should grab. When we finally got our bear canisters, mine was full of love and homemade treats. As you can tell from Donkey's reaction, my mom's homemade chocolate chip cookies were a win.
I don't know what that's like.
What?
So many people are here.
Hey, they're filming. I'm famous.
Kennedy Meadows was packed with hikers. I'm not sure I've ever seen this many hikers in one place, except maybe Appalachian Trail days. Either way, it felt surreal to be here, to have reached Kennedy Meadows South, to have reached this iconic point along the Pacific Crest Trail, to know that we had made it through our first big section and we were about to tackle the next one. Between the goodies in our bear canisters and the food that we had just bought, I had no idea how all of the stuff laid out before us was supposed to fit in my bag. It was more than a bit overwhelming, if I'm being honest, trying to prepare for a section of trail that I had no idea what to expect. But instead of letting the stress overtake me, we just went to go paint our nails with our friends. Because, I don't ever actually paint my nails unless I'm on trail. All right. And we painted our nails. We got sparkles.
Bonita.
Because Barbie and I felt like we had taken a lot of zeros in Tehachapi and also a lot of zeros in Ridgecrest, we were only staying one night in Kennedy Meadows. And then we were headed out with our group the next day to get back on trail. We figured that if we had everything ready to go and we were feeling good about the next leg of our adventure, then we should just go. but not without enjoying a deliciously hearty breakfast the next morning at Grumpy's. And one last ice cream treat, because who knew the next time I'd be enjoying ice cream? It had been a bit of a tough decision, but Barbie and I were changing it up for this section of trail. We had caught back up to our friends from the Netherlands, and we wanted to go into the Sierras with a bigger group of people. We figured with all kinds of brains thinking tough situations through, that we would be better off in an environment that we had no experience in, with snow and micro spikes and ice axes. So leaving Kennedy Meadows, we headed out with a group of 8. Hello and good afternoon from day 47 on the Pacific Crest Trail. We are back on trail. We took kind of just like a Nero-ish and a half day in Kennedy Meadows, since we took 2 zeros in Ridgecrest for our 0 and then our side crest. And whew, tripping on rocks. So yeah, we got into Kennedy Meadows yesterday morning after doing about 9-ish miles. And then this morning, or today, we headed out around noon, and we are back on trail, and I guess technically officially in the Sierras, though still's a little deserty looking, but that's all right. We're making our way towards the mountains, and there is a breeze, and there are some more trees, so I'll take it as a win. So yeah, Kennedy Meadows was really cool. All right, I gotta stop climbing because I can't breathe. Yeah, Kennedy Meadows was really cool, and it was just nice to be surrounded by hikers, but there were so many hikers there. I think everybody is either like skipping up to Kennedy Meadows or they're starting at Kennedy Meadows because it's so hot in the desert right now. So Sierras are going to be a busy place, but it's going to be fun. We are changing up our hiking group a little bit just because we had friends that wanted to rest a little bit more, but we are feeling good and we are ready to keep going. So we are trucking on with some other friends. So yeah, we're excited for this next challenge and next adventure. I'd also be lying if I said I wasn't excited for an abundance of water. I was so excited for that. And this was our Sierra crew in a rare moment where I was leading the pack. I won't share our trail family name because it's not YouTube appropriate, but I will share their names. There's Barbie, Union, Wildcard, Reroute, Too Chill, Pinto, and Best Friend. I'm not actually sure where Donkey and Oma were at that moment, but they were also part of our trail family. Barbie and I spent a lot of time on the AT, kind of ebbing and flowing between trail families that we loved, that we still talk to today. But it was really special to have this designated set of people that we were going to traverse through the Sierra Nevadas with. We knew already that we were going to share some really special moments with them.
Pictures.
We're in the Sierras, and it's cold this morning. It is day 48, and I can tell we are meandering out of the desert because the weather is chillier this morning, and there's trees, and there's some fog, and yeah, that is a lovely thing. We are climbing, and my bag is much heavier with this bare canister in it, but I am happy to soon be getting back to the mountains and the trees. So yeah, I know that the next few days and next 100 miles are going to be tough, but I'm also really excited. So yeah, I didn't realize just how much I'd missed the mountains until we started to get back in them. I don't think I tried not to let myself miss them because of the desert. Just like, I mean, it was beautiful in its own way, but I don't think I let myself miss the mountains because I don't think I could really handle how much I miss them. And it just feels, even though I'm terrified for the Sierras, I also, because it's going to be back in the mountains, I'm so excited. I am so excited to be back in the mountains. As we were making our first miles into the Sierra Nevadas, it felt more like a transition stage, like we were still in kind of a deserty-like environment, but there were more trees and the temperature was a little bit cooler. We were a little bit higher up and we could see mountains with snow in the distance. So we knew soon enough that we would officially be out of the sandy desert landscape and fully immersed into the mountains of the Sierra Nevada. A day after we left Kennedy Meadows South, we were already faced with some new challenges. We had found a big enough campsite for our big group, but it was on an exposed high up area. And shortly after we had all set up our tents, we looked at the sky and the weather and realized that maybe this wasn't the best spot for us to camp tonight. So we packed everything back up, even though we were tired and exhausted, and kept moving a little further. I feel like dog shit today. I forgot that, like, being in altitude, like, does stuff to you, like altitude sickness. Because, like, I'm not used to being at altitude. So, yeah, yesterday some of the climbs got to me a little bit. I had to take some breaks because, like, my heart was racing. But, yeah, overall, I, like, recovered fine. And then yesterday we got to camp. And then it started thundering. So we decided that we should probably be a little bit lower and not kind of on a ridge line like we were. So after we had set up and everything, we walked another mile with our big group of like 9 right now. Yeah. And then, yeah, so I was really tired. But then one of the like normal like effects of being in altitude and not being used to it is that it makes it harder to sleep. And so like I couldn't sleep until like after midnight. And so I am, even after a tough day yesterday, not being able to sleep, I'm not feeling great this morning. So we're just gonna do what we can today. I'm gonna drink some vitamin C in a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. But we're also gonna get to see like an alpine lake. So I'm really excited about that. And the trees are freaking beautiful. And we're seeing views of like the snowy mountains, which is really cool, but also like I'm like, shit, we gotta walk over those. So yeah, but it's gonna be a day, but we'll make it through no matter what it throws at us. Being from the East Coast and having never seen an alpine lake before, I knew that that was going to be the highlight of my day. No matter how tired I was so excited to see one of my first alpine lakes, and maybe if I was brave enough and it was warm enough, swim in it. Our first full day in the Sierras, and as the day went on, I was starting to feel the effects of not sleeping well the night before. And besides that, the combination of the altitude was getting to me. I could tell that my heart rate was a lot higher than usual, and my breathing was just off. And feeling this way because of the altitude was a really kind of wild feeling for me that made me uneasy. I'm the type of person who loves to be prepared for situations like this, but the only way to really feel more comfortable at altitude is to be at altitude. So I was just going to have to listen to my body and let it adjust to this new climate we were in. That didn't quell my excitement for reaching Chicken Spring Lake, which was our first alpine lake of the Sierra Nevadas. It was a little too cold for me to jump in that day, but it was still beautiful to sit here and relax with our friends and take a nice long lunch break because we were all feeling the effects of the altitude.
You can do that again.
Our first national park of the trail! I say it all the time, but the highs are really high and the lows are low. So even though there had been some struggles that day, our entire group was elated to reach Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. Our first full day in the Sierras and week 7 was complete.